Rory stayed out overnight for the third time. I opened the social media account of the girl he was entangled with. She meticulously documented Rory's gradual surrender, took the domineering CEO on a carousel ride, confessed my love successfully, yay, watching a movie, kissing until breathless in the cinema, my tongue's gone completely numb, finally got to touch the CEO's abs, but then he said it's only fair to return the favor, so embarrassing. I began studying this guide to husband training with genuine focus. Gotta admit, it's surprisingly reliable. 2 months later, the woman posted her pregnancy test report. I went to confront his wife, and I'll face it, together with my brother. I also held my pregnancy test report and left her a message. Fortunately, my brother doesn't have a wife, and he even said he'd face my husband with me, if he's inexperienced in life, take him to see the world in full bloom, if he's weathered the storms. Take him for a ride on the merry-go-round. Took the domineering CEO on a merry-go-round ride today. Hihi. Confession successful. In the photo, a girl sits on the merry-go-round, holding someone's hand that reaches out from beyond the frame. Her smile blossoms like a flower, with playful charm dancing in her eyes. Clearly, this photo was taken from a boyfriend's perspective. The man's face remains out of frame, showing only his hand clasped with the girl's. I recognized the Patek Philippe on their wrist at first glance, the very same one I'd personally picked out at the counter. I checked the date. The photo was posted on February 14th, Valentine's Day. That day, I specifically asked our housekeeper to leave early. Following a tutorial, I joyfully prepared an exquisite French dinner, waiting until 2 a.m., yet Rory never showed. Turned out he was accompanying someone else on a merry-go-round ride. Keep scrolling down, watching a romantic movie. The couple kissed until they were breathless in the cinema. Wow, their tongues went numb. A photo of the two kissing deeply. The man firmly held the girl's head, trapping her in his embrace, kissing with wild abandon and deep affection. Judging by that strikingly handsome profile, I could almost certainly conclude this was a man deeply in love. It was none other than my husband Rory. In fact, my WeChat background image bore a striking resemblance to this very photo. That was Rory proposing to me. After receiving my affirmative answer, he shed tears of joy and then gently kissed my lips. This moment was captured by my best friend Tara. She thought it was incredibly beautiful, saying this photo allowed her to viscerally feel a man's profound love for a woman. I also found it equally beautiful. He even used that photo as his WeChat background for 3 consecutive years. As expected, those who flaunt their love never come to a good end. May 2nd, yesterday. It was Rory's and my 3rd wedding anniversary. Rory stayed out all night again. I heard it was his wedding anniversary, but I didn't want him to go back, so I acted spoiled, and he actually agreed. I licked the CEO's abs, and he said he'd return the favor. So embarrassing. Help. I think the CEO is getting turned on. I clicked open that photo. On the sofa, Rory was kissing a girl's belly button. The scene is enchanting. Ambiguity lingers in the air, like young lovers in the throes of passion. That man who hasn't touched me in so long, lying atop another woman, his eyes brimming with undisguised desire. My gaze lingered on that photograph for a long time. After what felt like an eternity, I finally confirmed one thing. The reason my husband didn't come home last night on our 3rd wedding anniversary was because he was kissing another woman's belly button. I'm actually not that slow-witted. Rory's infidelity wasn't entirely without warning signs. I first noticed something was off with him a few months ago. In the 3rd year of our marriage, pressured by both sets of parents and our age, I started considering having a child. Rory suggested sleeping in separate rooms instead. His reason was work-related stress. At that time, I found it quite strange. After the marriage alliance between the two families, the Ferdinand family had been thriving smoothly these past few years. His workload had clearly lightened significantly. Why would he lie through his teeth like this? After we started sleeping in separate rooms, to increase the chances of conception, I could only take the initiative to seek intimacy during my ovulation period. Yet Rory always had an excuse to refuse. Notice, every single time, had some drinks, feeling tired, no energy, nothing but these excuses. To be honest, looking back now at his perfunctory and indifferent demeanor, I felt like a prostitute in a brothel, desperately trying to persuade a client to take off his pants. I don't know how long I sat on the couch. It was as if just a moment ago, the morning light had barely begun to dawn. When I came to my senses again, dusk had already fallen. From the initial shock and disbelief when I first opened the photo, to the helpless rage, then sinking into deep thought, my heart gradually calmed. After I had completely quieted down, I went upstairs to shower, put on makeup, and change clothes. then took a taxi to the company. Just as I reached the door of the president's office, Mr. Wang, the assistant who was working nearby, seemed nervous when he saw me. He immediately stood up. "Madam, what brings you here?" "I'm here to take Rory to dinner." Could you wait a moment? Let me announce you first." 2 minutes later, as I entered Rory's office, I finally understood why Assistant Wang had been so flustered earlier. A girl was standing by the desk, holding a contract folder in her hands. Though she had her back to me, I guessed who it was almost instantly. Rory spoke in a flat tone. "How did you get here?" I clenched my palms, forcing a smile in his direction. "You didn't come home last night, so I came specially to pick you up after work today." "Happy. Got drunk with clients last night, stayed at a hotel, knew you'd do that." I deliberately pouted and moved closer. "Finished work yet? Hubby, come have dinner with me." "You might have to work overtime today." "No way, you didn't come home yesterday. As punishment, you'll have to listen to me all night tonight." Rory's body stiffened for a moment as he instinctively looked across the room. The girl who had been standing opposite him, holding a file folder with a calm expression, until I wrapped my arms around Rory's arm and started acting coquettishly. Her expression visibly changed, staring blankly at my hand clutching Rory's arm, her lips slightly downturned. Both hands gripping the contract tightly, her knuckles turning white, even her eyes were rimmed with red, as if tears were about to fall any second. This pitiful, aggrieved, and silently enduring expression truly looks like someone who's suffered a great injustice. Rory was clearly heartbroken, seemingly trying to subtly avoid me. "What's wrong, honey?" Far from giving him what he wanted, I clung to him even tighter. Rory paused briefly, already devising a countermeasure. "All right, let's go eat." They hadn't even reached the restaurant when his phone rang. After hanging up, Rory spoke with urgency in his voice. "Honey, there's something urgent at the office. I need to go back immediately." I turned my head slightly, a faint smile playing at the corners of my lips as I simply watched him. "Are you sure you want to go back?" The other person nodded absent-mindedly. "Yeah, there's some issue with the contract I signed with Shengda yesterday. I need to go back and check it out." "All right then." I got out of the car without a word. Rory dumped me by the roadside. He seemed utterly unconcerned about how I'd get back from this godforsaken place with hardly any traffic. In a frantic hurry, he turned the car around and sped off. A man who's changed his heart is truly worse than a dog. I shouldn't have suggested coming to such an out-of-the-way place for home-style cuisine earlier. 30 minutes later, Rory's car pulled up near the Ferdinand Corporation building. He got out of the car while talking on the phone, his face filled with anxiety. After walking a few meters, his footsteps suddenly came to a halt. Not long ago, the girl who had looked wronged and teary-eyed in his office was now standing right across from him. Rory looked at her with a mix of helplessness and adoration. The two silently locked eyes for what felt like an eternity, until Rory let out a soft sigh and extended both hands. The girl wiped away her tears and dashed toward him, crashing firmly into his embrace. The two held each other tightly in a fierce hug. A moment later, Rory hooked a finger under the other's chin and kissed them passionately. It's just like those scenes from domineering CEO dramas. If the male lead weren't my husband, I'd definitely be the first to ship them as a couple. I calmly finished recording the video of those two. The driver uncle in the front seat had his face burning with intense gossipy curiosity. "Miss, is that man possibly your husband?" I took out the promised 1,000 yuan from my wallet and handed it to the other person. "Thank you. Please pull over ahead, I'll get off at the intersection." After night fell, I went to a bar. The surroundings were bustling with noise and clamor. The noisier the place, the more it helps me calm down. I ordered half a dozen beers, suddenly remembering something. I opened a social media account. Indeed, half an hour ago, someone in my following list posted a new caption. "First round, victory. My brother is so amazing. I really want to reward him." The term of address has changed from the previous domineering CEO to brother. How should I put this? I seem to have become the catalyst between my husband and his lover. What a joyous occasion. Reward Rory then. The belly button has already been kissed. The kiss has already been shared. What comes next? Making love. TSK. Congratulations indeed to Rory. If it weren't for my wife's divine, how could he have captured the beauty's heart so quickly? Even though I had thoroughly browsed through all the content of this account just this morning, yet here I am, meticulously scrolling through it all over again. It reads very much like a love diary. She wrote in great detail. From her first day at the company's onboarding, how she fell in love at first sight with Rory, and how she managed to exchange their first words, how she used clever tactics to make Rory take her home on a stormy evening, how to prepare a loving breakfast with nervous excitement and present it to someone. In just a few short months, nearly dozens of messages were sent. Every single one was about Rory. It could be called a lengthy record of husband training strategies, of course. The company name was concealed by her. In all the photos she took, Rory never showed his face either. If it weren't for the fact that a few days ago, I used Rory's phone to shop and accidentally discovered this account that followed him back on a certain social platform, so I kept it in mind and noted it down. I never thought in my wildest dreams that my husband had already become another woman's prey on the chopping block. Through these words, I clearly see Rory how he fell into her grasp. To be honest, many of her tactics were quite unconventional, although the comment section was filled with scathing criticism, but she was clever enough not to confront netizens head-on. She simply offered a calm explanation. The one who isn't loved is the real third party. So now I've become the other woman between her and Rory. I sneered and turned off my phone. The next second, the screen lit up again. It was my best friend and partner in crime, Tara. You're in Queens, good grief. Don't tell me you're drunk again. I actually hadn't drunk much and was completely sober. Just a little. Wait there, I'll have my brother come pick you up. She hung up without waiting for a reply. The moment to test my acting skills has arrived. I poured some beer on myself to smell like a drunken female alcoholic. Then I began to build up the right mood. Within 10 minutes, driver Chen arrived. He helped me out of the bar and over to the Bentley. Young master, Shirley is drunk again. Should we put her in the back seat or the passenger seat? The man in the black suit sitting in the back seat was scrolling through news on his iPad. Hearing this, his gaze shifted over. 3 seconds later, a crisp voice sounded. Sit in the back. I quickly caught a whiff of that light, pleasant cologne, not bad at all. Instinctively wanting to draw closer, yet hesitating deep down. After all, this was no ordinary person. It was Nick. I think I've probably gone mad. To think I actually want to flirt with Nick. When did this idea even start? Maybe it was last month, on my birthday. Rory stayed out all night for the second time. I waited and waited in the restaurant, watching as diners came and went, but Rory never showed up. At midnight, the waiter told me in a sympathetic and apologetic tone that they were closing. I called Rory. The other end had powered off. I don't know how to describe what I felt in that moment. For the first time, the thought of divorce crossed my mind. I drained that bottle of Laugh It dry and walked out of the restaurant without looking back. Tara was video calling me while I was hugging a lamppost and vomiting uncontrollably. She was abroad at the time and, terrified I might get taken advantage of, immediately contacted Nick. What happened next is too embarrassing to recount. I think I threw up on Nick, and in his car, and on their family's sofa. The most important thing is, because it was too late that day. Nick took me back to Nicholas' old family home. Fortunately, everyone else was already asleep. Later, Tara pulled out the video from their living room and showed me my glorious achievements from that night. Nick's suit was ruined by your vomit, yet he didn't have driver Chen throw you out. I'm starting to wonder if he has a crush on you. His cleanliness obsession is the worst. Tara really overestimates me. What virtue or ability do I possess to deserve Nick having a crush on me? Clearly, it was me who had a crush on him. From elementary school through high school, I secretly liked him for 7 or 8 years. I even confessed to him once. Naturally, the result was a brutal rejection. I had quite a strong sense of pride back then. After Nick rejected me, I never interacted with him again. I was so naive at that time. Secretly thinking, today you ignore me, tomorrow I'll make you unworthy of me. And indeed, he became unworthy in the end. It's just that I'm not good enough for him. The Nicholas Family Corporation underwent drastic reforms after Nick's father took office. The Nicholas family developed rapidly and soon became the industry leader in City D. At that time, my family was caught in a 2 to 3 year divorce battle after my mother discovered my father's affair. The company's stock prices kept plunging. After the divorce, my father took another group of key technical personnel away from the company, dealing a heavy blow to the group, which took several years to recover. After graduating from high school, Nick went to Imperial College London. As for Tara and me, this pair of unfortunate sisters, we went to the US and got a mediocre master's degree. As time passed, my lingering affection for Nick completely faded away. After all, I'm not a child anymore. As an adult, I've developed a fair amount of self-awareness. Shortly after graduating, I returned home and dutifully started working at the family company. The first person I was set up with was Rory. He's clean-cut, tall, comes from a good family, and treats me with care and consideration. I was very satisfied and content. It was only natural that we got married. I just never expected that in just 3 short years, things would end up like this. That day when Nick brought me back to Nicholas's old family home, I woke up the next morning so embarrassed I wished I could crawl into a hole. Nick, however, remained completely calm and natural. He even proactively instructed driver Chen to take me back home. I awkwardly thanked him and was about to leave. Nick seemed to remember something and suddenly handed me an exquisitely wrapped gift box. I looked at him in surprise. What? He paused for a moment. Wasn't it your birthday yesterday? How did you know? I blurted out. Nick looked at me. His gentle eyes held an indistinguishable emotion, like sunlight dancing on lake water. Tara told me. Oh, could this be a birthday gift for me? He's being quite polite. After getting home, I opened the gift box. Inside was a weighty pure gold 4-leaf clover necklace, shining with golden brilliance, exquisitely designed. I fell in love with it instantly. Since childhood, I've always loved collecting jewelry. Nothing else appeals to me, only pure gold, gold bracelets, gold necklaces, rings, earrings. I always feel that gold can bring people a sense of security. Tara often teases me, saying I must be Smaug from the Lord of the Rings reincarnated. That day, I was wearing Nick's gold necklace. An inexplicable flutter stirs in my heart. It feels like the youthful stirrings of spring are awakening once more. Even after all these years, Nick's face still holds that same captivating charm. Of course, at that time, I was just experiencing the first flutterings of spring in my heart. What truly made me consider making a move on Nick started just 15 minutes ago. Tara mentioned having her brother pick me up. I'm an only child, and she was an only child raised in a single-parent household. From a young age, I was always envious of other families being lively and bustling. While it was just my mom and me at home, I'm determined to have children. My mom is also looking forward to becoming a grandmother soon. I expect my child to inherit the Devon family's business in the future. Rory hasn't touched me for nearly half a year. Now he's even cheated on me. Why on earth should I have a child with him? From childhood to adulthood, Nick has always been the school heartthrob, with looks that never faltered. Otherwise, I wouldn't have fallen for him as early as second grade. Standing at 188 centimeters with broad shoulders and a narrow waist, a perfect inverted triangle physique. As for intelligence, needless to say, he's an Imperial College London graduate. My idea is simple, I just want to borrow his seed, the kind where you keep the child but ditch the father. Once successful, I'll come clean to my mom. She can't very well kick out her pregnant daughter. Moreover, Tara said her brother currently doesn't have a girlfriend either. No, she said he's never had a girlfriend before. Of course, she wouldn't know about his time studying abroad. At any rate, he's been single ever since returning home these past few years. There really aren't many single, well-behaved, and handsome men around me. There's only this one. Why not seize the opportunity? ZZZ. The sound of tires screeching against the pavement. The car came to a sudden, sharp stop. Caught off guard, my entire body lurched forward. It's okay. The person beside me quickly caught me in their arms. Hugged me. My eyes snapped open. There I was, staring straight into Nick's eyes with my dewy gaze. We stared at each other for several seconds. He didn't expect me to wake up suddenly and was slightly taken aback. Nick, why am I in your car? The next moment, my expression turned bewildered. Nick released me and cleared his throat lightly. You've had too much to drink. Tara asked me to pick you up. Oh, a look of realization crossed my face. He glanced at me, hesitating for a moment. Where are you planning to go? I'll take you back. Hearing this, a fleeting look of desolation and melancholy crossed my face. My eyes grew hollow and vacant as I murmured faintly, I don't want to go anywhere. Nick looked at me, pursed his lips, and seemed to want to say something but hesitated. After several moments of contemplation, he ultimately said nothing. Seeing him so composed and restrained, I had no choice but to take the initiative, gazing at him with pitiful eyes. I want to go to the amusement park. Nick, can you take me there? At 9:30, the amusement park hadn't closed yet. But there weren't many people left either. I recalled the famous quote I saw this morning. If he's inexperienced in life, show him the world's splendors. If he's world-weary, take him on a merry-go-round. Someone like Nick, who's neither inexperienced nor world-weary, he should still be able to take a ride. Right, Nick? I want to ride the merry-go-round. Will you come with me? This sickeningly sweet, overly coquettish tone of mine was almost unbearable even to myself. However, I noticed Nick seemed to be quite taken with it. He didn't even hesitate before agreeing. Could it be true that coquettish women have the best luck? This was my first time riding a carousel. The experience was just so. After all, it's just kids' stuff. Nick is right beside me on my left. The aloof and domineering CEO riding a childish yet adorable merry-go-round creates an inexplicably comical scene. What should we do next? I pondered. Taking a photo seems too deliberate, something ambiguous. Yes, it should be this stage. Nick, can you stay with me tonight? The moment these words left my mouth, we both froze. Realizing what I'd just said, my face turned crimson. I didn't mean that. I was wondering if you could stay with me. I don't want to go back and face Rory. We've been having some issues lately. Nick gazed at me with focused intensity. What happened? You can tell me. I'd have to tell him eventually anyway. My eyes welled up with tears as I spoke, unable to conceal the sorrow in my voice. Rory cheated on me. Nick remained silent for a moment. Somehow, I sensed his expression wasn't one of surprise. We simply stood there, gazing at each other in silence. In an instant, a hand gently touched my cheek, wiping away my tears. Nick's gaze held a tenderness I'd never seen before. What do you plan to do? That question. I shook my head weakly. I don't know. My mind is a mess. Do you need me to give you some advice? His voice seemed almost bewitching, and I stared at him in a daze. What advice? Divorce him, as everyone knows. My marriage to Rory was purely a business arrangement. After 3 years of marriage, our family corporations had established multiple collaborative ventures and held mutual shares. As the saying goes, pulling one hair moves the whole body. Every action has far-reaching consequences. Either party filing for divorce would deal a heavy blow to both families' companies. If Rory doesn't bring up divorce first, I don't think I'd rashly mention it either. But, I couldn't think of how to respond at that moment. If you agree, I'll find you the best lawyer immediately. You don't need to have any concerns. Why do I feel like Nick is skillfully persuading? I just wanted to casually hit on him and see if we could have a child together. As for whether to divorce Rory, that shouldn't be something for me to discuss with him here. I instinctively shook my head, just about to say something, but I failed to notice Nick's face suddenly change. You're unwilling. He sounded utterly disappointed. Not that I'm unwilling, it's just that divorce proceedings are tedious and complicated, not something that can be sorted out in a few words. And even if Rory and I were to start divorce proceedings, the process would undoubtedly be drawn out. Who would be willing to wait that long? I need to think about it. That was all I could say for now. Nick stared at me unblinkingly, his dark pupils carrying a trace of doubt, as if trying to discern the truth in my words. After a long pause, he finally spoke solemnly. All right, I'll wait for you. What are you waiting for me for? His expression stiffened, then he said. That lawyer is quite hard to schedule. I can only call him after you've made up your mind. Oh, so that's how it is. I nodded. The carousel music suddenly stopped. Apparently the 10 minutes were up. Want to go again? Nick asked me. Never mind. I'd rather not. He hesitated, words caught in his throat. If you don't want to go back, you could come to my place. I blinked. The old house. Forget it then. Grandpa Nicholas, Grandma Nicholas and his parents all live there. I wouldn't dare to be presumptuous. I'd better go back. Nick frowned, looking rather displeased. Why, after all he's done to you, you still want to go back? Him? I was utterly confused. I'm going back to my mom's place. A faint smile played on his lips, his eyes twinkling with scattered amusement. All right, I'll walk you back. I couldn't shake the feeling that tonight's Nick was different from the Nick I used to know. The Nick from before, cold, enjoys quiet. Especially dislikes socializing with people, particularly dislikes dealing with people who are a bit slow-witted. Yet at that time, I was stubbornly persistent and loved dancing on all his radars. I've known Tara since kindergarten. Nick was only a year older than the two of us. So I practically met Nick around kindergarten age. I was practically drooling over his good looks from the first moment I saw him. To put it bluntly, when I was little, the only reason I played with Tara was because of Nick. Tara was quite a handful when she was little. She cried a lot and had princess syndrome, and she was such a little schemer too. No girls were willing to play with her. I learned the principle of saving the nation through indirect means at a very young age. To get close to Nick, I forced myself to become Tara's best friend. From elementary school through sophomore year of high school, I religiously visited Nicholas's family home every weekend. Every time I used the excuse of playing with Tara to check if Nick was home, if he was home, I would find every possible way to bother him. This math problem is too hard. I don't know how to pronounce that word. I can't write this essay. At first, Nick was impatient but at least didn't show his displeasure, until I later discovered that I still couldn't remember a formula even after it was explained 8 times. A word read 10 times still recognizes me the next time, but I don't recognize it. Nick soon reached his breaking point, his face growing darker and more sour. Finally, he couldn't hold back anymore. Shirley, I just explained this problem 3 minutes ago. What on earth are you doing? Did you leave your brain at home? I wasn't the least bit angry. Instead, I rested my chin on my hand and apologized to him. Wow, Nick looks even hotter when he's mad. I really want to get closer to him. Kiss his lips. No, I'm not grown up yet. Can't kiss a boy's lips. Woo-woo, I can't wait to grow up. I kept holding it in, until my second year of high school when I finally lost control and confessed my feelings to Nick. To my surprise, he rejected me. Not only did he reject me, but the very next day he started dating a girl who had been bullying me. It made me absolutely furious. This is also what I find most unbearable. So I unilaterally cut off Nick, and for nearly 10 years after that, we barely spoke. It wasn't until last time when I got drunk and Tara asked him to pick me up that I reluctantly re-established diplomatic relations with him. From what I remember, Nick has always been indifferent to other people's affairs. Today he actually said he'd introduce me to a divorce lawyer. Now that's something you don't see every day. Early the next morning, at the dinner table, my mom started nagging me again. Why did you come back alone last night? Rory, where is he? I replied lazily, dunno. Mother just shook her head. Girl, how could you not know where your own husband is? When are you two planning to have kids? Not that I'm rushing you, but you're turning 27 soon. Don't you dare follow those dink couples who refuse to have children. How will society progress? How will our country develop without children? I'm so done with my mom. You always use these high-sounding principles to pressure me. Is it me who refuses to have children now? It's your son-in-law who won't touch me. I can't reproduce without sperm. Can I? At this thought, I instinctively opened my phone and tapped on that account. Sure enough, there was another update last night. My arms are so sore. Big Brother's stamina is really good. The reward will have to wait until next time. After all, I'm not quite ready yet. Hope Big Brother can wait patiently. Tilda. What do you mean? So she and Rory haven't had a physical relationship yet? So far, has my husband only been emotionally unfaithful? Still quite innocent. Kisses exchanged, belly button kissed, and now it seems even helped with a handjob. Just one final step left. Not sure what came over me, but I gave that post a like using my alt account. After breakfast, I drove home. Rory was taking a shower. The moment he stepped out wrapped in a towel, he seemed slightly surprised to see me. Honey, I walked over to him, my tone affectionate. Did you get the Shungdar contract settled? All taken care of. He instinctively adjusted his bathrobe, his voice tinged with guilt. Sorry for leaving you behind yesterday. It's fine. Work comes first. Noticing his little gesture, I deliberately hugged him and acted coquettishly. Honey, Mom was urging us again this morning about having a baby. Can you come home early tonight? Rory visibly stiffened and tugged at his collar. Tonight, I'll try my best. What's that on your neck? I curiously tugged at it. The other person abruptly pushed me away. Nothing. I slept at the office last night. There were too many mosquitoes. Mosquito, that huge hickey, and you're telling me it's from a mosquito. But, looks like you've got one on your chest too. Seems like you two had quite the wild night, though we didn't go all the way. It didn't stop us from exploring each other's bodies. Should I call that girl arrogant or just plain stupid? She's already declaring war on me this quickly. Rory calmed down and replied with nonchalance. The marks on my chest are from my own scratching. It was unbearably itchy. Oh, really? I had no intention of exposing him, just smiled and reminded him. Honey, come home early tonight. I'll be waiting for you. But by 9 o'clock that night, Rory still hadn't returned home. Fortunately, I no longer have any expectations of him. I logged into the familiar account. The accompanying image was a cup of hot beverage, brown sugar ginger tea. A token of love from the domineering CEO. No more fearing the agony of menstrual cramps that make you wish you were dead. So that's how it is. How thoughtful. There was a time when Rory would brew me brown sugar ginger tea during my special days. Truly, the world only hears the laughter of new lovers, never the tears of the abandoned. After browsing, I continued to give them a like. Tara finished her project and said she wanted to meet up. Queen or Nightfall? I thought for a moment. Never mind. Let's go to your place. Your place. The other person looked at me strangely. I thought you didn't like coming to my house. Since when have I not liked it? Ever since you confessed to Nick in your second year of high school and got rejected. Ahem. I coughed awkwardly, rubbing my nose. How did you know about that? Shirley. Do you take me for a fool? I haven't mentioned it before because I didn't want to embarrass you. Me. Nicholas's family old residence I really haven't visited much these past years. Tara also has a villa in the city centre. Most of the time when us sisters meet up, it's usually there. Grabbed some beers from the fridge. Tara then asked the kitchen auntie to prepare some appetizers for her. I glanced outside. So, is your brother home today? I don't know. Why are you asking? No reason, just asking casually. Tara picked up a piece of freshly mixed cucumber and suddenly looked at me while chewing. Something feels off to me. Did anything happen between you and Nick recently? I played dumb. What could possibly happen between us? Cut the crap. Otherwise why would you ask about him? And why would you suddenly come here? Shirley, you're acting really strange. Damn, when did this girl become so sharp-witted? Alright, I'll be honest with you. Didn't you say last time that I threw up in Nick's car and all over him? I just wanted to properly apologize to him. And you also said he's extremely particular about cleanliness. Tara wore an expression of sudden realization. His cleanliness obsession is seriously intense. You're lucky driver Chen didn't throw you out of the car that day. Yes, I'm blessed with great fortune. The two were just preparing to go upstairs. There came noises from outside. It seemed a car had driven into the front yard. I couldn't help but wonder in my heart, could it possibly be Nick? Tara glanced outside and said joyfully, my uncle has returned. Before long, an elder entered the living room on the first floor. The man appeared to be in his 50s, tall in stature, wearing frameless glasses on the bridge of his nose, with an exceptionally scholarly demeanor. Dad. Tara happily stepped forward and hugged him. This was Nick's father, Nicholas family. The current de facto power holder of the conglomerate. Tara lost her father at a young age, and not long after, her mother remarried, leaving her at the Nicholas family. Her uncle treated her exceptionally well, no different from his own daughter. When did you get back? Seeing his niece. Tara, the usually stern-faced uncle, couldn't help but smile. Morning. By the way, why don't I see Grandpa and Grandma? They went to your aunt's place and won't be back for a few days. Tara acted coquettishly for a while, then suddenly remembered something. Uncle, this is my good friend Shirley. Do you remember her? His gaze shifted towards us. I steeled myself and stepped forward to greet him. Hello, Uncle. Tara, Uncle probably still remembers me, giving me a quick once-over while keeping his smile unchanged. Shirley, the little girl who used to come to our house often when she was young. Mim. Yes, that's her. You can still see a bit of her childhood features. But I never expected she'd grow so tall and so beautiful. Of course, our Shirley has been the schoolbelle since childhood, just a tiny bit less beautiful than me, Tara said proudly. Her uncle chuckled and shook his head. I've watched you grow up, and your thick skin has always been your most outstanding feature. Girls' gatherings are nothing more than chatting about new shows, gossip, and the like. Plus, Tara and I have been together from elementary school through college. With almost entirely overlapping circles of friends and classmates, her mouth hasn't stopped running the whole time. This friend just got remarried for the second time, to a man twice her age. That classmate broke up with her boyfriend last month, apparently caught in the act of cheating in bed. The breakup was really messy. Good thing I haven't told her about Rory, otherwise she'd definitely grill me for all the details. We kept chatting until around 11 before this young miss finally went to sleep. Her sleeping posture was truly something to behold, and not in a good way. I decided to sleep in the guest room. The guest room was on the 3rd floor. I was about to go up when I spotted someone on the sofa in the 2nd floor living room. Nick. When did he sit down here? No, when did he come back? Our eyes met. He didn't seem the least bit surprised to see me here. Looking for something? Nick asked me. Nothing. I'm going to the guest room. I'll take you there. He stood up, his tone casual. I had no choice but to follow him. The two of us arrived at the guest room on the far right of the 3rd floor, the very one I had stayed in before. Have you made up your mind about last time? As he pushed open the door, Nick took the initiative to ask me. I didn't react immediately. What? He looked at me, his gaze slightly intense. About the divorce. So that's what it was. How should I answer him? I'm really at a bit of a loss. He doesn't agree. Before I could answer, Nick took the initiative to provide the answer himself. He furrowed his brows, looking unsurprised, then methodically helped me analyze the situation. It's all right. You can file for divorce, first, separate, then take it to court. I'll take you to that law firm first thing tomorrow morning. Don't worry, cases like this are straightforward. I had to interrupt him. Actually, I haven't told Rory yet. The voice abruptly stopped. He looked at me in confusion, completely bewildered. Why? I carefully chose my words. Do you still love him? Nick suddenly fixed his intense gaze on me, his eyes misty with unshed tears, the corners slightly reddened. I stared at him blankly, murmuring, no, then why? He gritted his teeth and pressed on relentlessly, as if determined to force an answer out of me. Can we not talk about this? What do you want to talk about? Anything, just not this. Maybe it was the alcohol. Suddenly I felt this might be the perfect moment to hit on Nick. Late at night, all was quiet. No one would ever know. Snap, I turned off the light. Nick is so smart, he should understand what I mean. In the darkness, he didn't move a muscle. I swallowed hard and decided to be direct. Nick, can you stay with me tonight? No response. Lynn, Nick, still no response. I reached out a trembling hand and touched the other's cheek, leaned in closer, planted a butterfly-light kiss on their lips. This time, I made it obvious enough, didn't I? Why does it feel like he's frozen in place? He even stopped breathing. What's going on? I was so frightened that I immediately turned on the light. Snap, yet it was swiftly extinguished before one could react. The next second, a pair of slightly trembling hands gently cupped my chin, a faint breath brushed between the nostrils. In the darkness, I felt Nick gazing at me. About a minute passed. Then warmth finally touched my lips. It was a very light, very reverent kiss. After a brief touch, we parted immediately. The other person still seemed uncertain, just carefully testing my reaction. Of course I wouldn't give Nick any chance to back out. Wrapping my arms around his neck, I leaned in first. This time, he was certain. Without hesitation, he cupped the back of my head and captured my lips again. And it was relentless. He pried open my teeth at once, invading fiercely and domineeringly like a conqueror. The force was so great it felt like he wanted to mold me into his very being. Pinned against the wall, I lost all capacity for thought. The kiss lasted an eternity. To be honest, I've never had a kiss that lasted this long. Just like the copy said, my tongue is so numb. It really is numb. I gradually remembered the main task at hand, so while panting heavily, I endured Nick's passionate kisses. Meanwhile, I fumbled clumsily to undo his buttons. His shirt, oh my god, why is this so hard to undo? I was desperately trying to tear it off for him, because I had already felt Nick's abs. Oh my, so juicy. I really want a kiss. That line keeps echoing in my mind. Finally got to kiss the CEO's abs. No, what other women have, I must have too. Damn this button. Just as I was flustered in a panic, a dreamlike whisper reached my ears. Shirley. I was momentarily dazed. That form of address was from too long ago, when I was little. Tara used to call me Shirley. Nick also called me that once or twice, though very rarely. Most of the time, he calls me Shirley. Only on days when I was very obedient and well-behaved, not disturbing him, would he call me like Tara. Divorce him, okay. That husky, lingering, bewitching voice came at me again. Nick murmured while gently nibbling on my earlobe. I frowned. Why bring this up again? It's such a mood killer. Can you focus, please? All I want now is to sleep with you, not divorce. The slight chill touched my cheek. The man, who had been tender and passionate moments ago, suddenly froze. I jolted in realization. I'm screwed. How did I blurt out that last sentence? Nick slowly released me, his voice cold and detached, completely devoid of the earlier ambiguous intimacy. What do you mean by that? I tried to make amends, and nothing. Don't misunderstand. Nick remained silent. After a long while, do you want to use me to get back at him? I know him too well. That sarcastic, mocking tone is unmistakably the precursor to his anger. I realize there's a high chance I'm about to mess this up. I couldn't help but sigh in regret. It was so close. Just a little bit more. I'm filled with remorse. Shirley, you're really something. Indeed, the familiar Nick has returned, detached, indifferent. I could only watch helplessly as the other party stormed away. The duck in hand just flew away. I'm going crazy. After that night, I never saw Nick again. He seemed absolutely furious. After a few days, I called Tara and spent nearly half an hour making small talk before casually bringing up her brother. No idea, probably on a blind date. I bolted upright. What did you say? What's with the what? Why are you overreacting? You scared me, realizing my inappropriate behavior. I immediately made an excuse. No, nothing. Chestnut suddenly darted out and almost bit me. Chestnut is the Persian cat I keep. So, did the matchmaking work out? How would I know? Hanging up the phone, I fell into deep thought. Nick actually went on a blind date, so we're just letting what happened that night slide. That's unacceptable. I opened a social media platform and clicked on a familiar account, picking out the scallions. Your fingers are so long. Weird. Why did I notice that first? So embarrassing. The accompanying image was a bowl of beef noodles. A hand was using chopsticks to pick out the spring onions from the bowl, first brewing ginger tea. Now picking out spring onions, she's practically coaxed Rory back into an embryo state. Their sweet, lovey-dovey affection is practically oozing through the screen. It must be said, this girl really has a way with handling men. I've decided to thoroughly study this husband handling guide. Simply put, her strategy was a slow-burning sniper approach. Once the target was locked, though the advance was slow, the prey remained firmly within her sights. At first, She used repeated chance encounters to deepen the other's impression of her. After becoming familiar, she employed a little clever trick to exchange WeChat contacts. Then it subtly permeated the other's life like a gentle rain nourishing the earth, playful banter in conversation, a breakfast made with overflowing love and sincerity. A push-and-pull tactic that sends the ambiguity meter skyrocketing. Actually, there's only one word throughout, and that's flirt. Once you've successfully flirted, you need to take control of the pace yourself. Often, being pursued doesn't mean you hold the upper hand. It can feel more like being a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. But when you take the initiative to flirt with someone, you suddenly become effortlessly in control. Compared to others, I'm really too inferior. First, I was too impatient. Haste makes waste. Second, my preparation was insufficient. I hadn't even added Nick on WeChat, with zero groundwork laid. Moreover, one must understand the art of playing the long game to land big catches. Rory have been in this ambiguous relationship for 3 or 4 months now, and they're still just at the stage of kissing and touching. This way, they've really whetted each other's appetite, and only by doing this will a man become utterly obsessed with you. Alas, I really am too inexperienced. For example, there are some things that can be considered basic skills. Learn to act cute, learn to play the victim, appropriately reveal your vulnerability, and men will develop sympathy for you, and once he feels sympathy for you, that's your perfect opportunity to manipulate him. No wonder I could never catch Nick, because I was doing everything completely the opposite way. That saying really holds true, what I once dismissed without a second thought. I now analyze frame by frame. Since I've decided to hit on Nick, naturally I'd need to get his WeChat first. How exactly should I get it? I can only ask Tara now. I made up an excuse. Send me your brother's WeChat contact. What for? A few days ago someone came to our company for an interview. It seems he previously worked in your Nicholas family's technical department. His non-compete agreement just expired, and he wants to join us. I wanted to ask your brother about his capabilities. Tara suspected nothing and quickly forwarded her brother's WeChat contact. Judging by the profile picture, she must have shared his personal WeChat account. After a moment's thought, I sent a message. Nick, it's me, Shirley. First day, no response. Second day, still no response. Third day, still no response. It seems they're dead set on not letting me pass. Looks like they're still angry about that day. I'll have to jump straight to step 2 then. Creating a chance encounter. This is a bit tricky. I can't just stake out his company, can I? So I had no choice but to discreetly inquire about her brother's news through Miss Lynn. The more I heard, the more disheartened I became. Nick, this guy is so boring. Aside from work, he barely has any recreational activities. He doesn't go to bars, doesn't play sports, and doesn't even play games, doesn't have a girlfriend either. I really don't understand what he does in his free time. Doesn't he ever run or anything? The abs I felt that night were no joke. We have a gym in the basement. Oh, right, I was about to ask something else when I noticed Tara staring straight at me. Shirley, be honest, do you have a thing for Nick? My heart skipped a beat. How could that be? What nonsense are you talking about? I wish I were talking nonsense. Haven't you gone over a decade without speaking to him? Every time we've chatted recently, when haven't you been asking about Nick? With such clumsy tricks, you think you can fool me? Confess and you'll be treated leniently, resist and you'll be punished severely. Shirley, you'd better come clean with me about everything. For a moment, I was left speechless by her retort. There was no helping it. Tara and I knew each other too well. If she were in a relationship today, or had a man on the side, needless to say, I would notice it right away. I had no choice but to confess. Rory is cheating. An abrupt statement left Tara momentarily stunned. When did this happen? I handed her a video I'd taken earlier of a passionate kiss. After watching it, she fell into complete silence. So you and Nick? I rubbed my nose somewhat guiltily. You know my family situation, I absolutely must have a child, but Rory hasn't touched me for half a year. As for Nick, you know I had a crush on him when we were kids. I originally planned to keep the child but not the father. Of course, if you're against it then forget it. Actually I also think, Tara suddenly interrupted. Why would I be against it? I stared at her in surprise. Shirley, I've never seen anyone as foolish as you, letting Rory bully you into such a pathetic state without saying a word. You want to sleep with Nick. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Do you really think I wouldn't help you with such a trivial matter? Such a trivial matter. I was in disarray for quite some time before stammering. I thought you'd immediately urge me to get a divorce. Tara sneered, her eyes radiating a chilling coldness. Why the rush to divorce? If you want to leave, fine, but only after you've slept with Nick. What nonsense that men can fool around while women must follow the 3 obediences and 4 virtues. Fuck that shit. Rory can have a girlfriend, and you're just as entitled to have a boyfriend, so you've got your eye on Nick. Huh, come on, let's go to my place right now. I was completely stunned. Go to your place. What for? Stop talking nonsense. Come with me right now. At a little past 9 in the evening, that familiar Bentley pulled into the villa. Tara quickly called out to me, Nick is back, weren't you looking for him? Go on, I facepalmed. Big sis, I wanted a chance encounter. A chance encounter, do you even get it? I know. Can't you just run into each other in my living room, or the hallway? Oh right. His room is the first master bedroom on the second floor. You already know that you could even accidentally meet in his bedroom. Unbelievable. I thought when she invited me to her house, she'd have some brilliant plan to help me win over Nick quickly, and this is what she came up with. Tara pushed me to the door and said earnestly, to be honest, all these years I've suspected my brother might be gay. He's 28 and hasn't even had a girlfriend, these past 2 years. It's not just me, even my grandparents have started doubting. If you could sleep with him, you'd be our family's greatest hero. What? Nick is gay? How could that be possible? If it weren't for how he nearly kissed my soul out of my body last time, I'd believe your nonsense. Before I could finish speaking, a sharp smack rang out, the door closed. Now I finally understand Tara's real purpose for urgently summoning me here. Turns out she was using me to test her brother. I waited stealthily on the staircase. Sure enough, Nick appeared walking up shortly after. The perfectly tailored dark suit accentuated the man's refined and aloof demeanor. The trousers were impeccably straight and long, their cuffs resting atop gleaming leather shoes, a textbook tall, long-legged oppa. A thought from Tara flashed through my mind. If Nick is really gay, is he the top or the bottom? In a daze, Nick's gaze had already landed over here. I quickly put on a smile. Brother Nick. His eyes were calm, his voice light. Something wrong? This is way too cold. As if the person who held me in a deep kiss just days ago, sucking my tongue until it went numb, wasn't him at all. I followed closely behind him, step by step, until he reached the master bedroom on the second floor. He turned to look at me, clearly asking. Still following, I bit my lip, putting on a pitiful expression. Nick, I have something to tell you. The other person pushed open the door to the room. To be honest, I was quite familiar with this room. After all, I used to come here often as a child to bother him. After all these years, the layout doesn't seem to have changed much. A grand piano still stands by the east-facing window. The adjacent display case holds an entire wall of Lego sets. Even the layout on the computer desk remained largely unchanged. Oh, seems like there's an extra photo frame. But why does the person in the frame look so familiar? I took a closer look. It was actually a photo of me and Tara. If I remember correctly, this photo was taken when I was in the first year of junior high. During a school cultural performance with Tara, both of us were wearing hanfu, with hairpins dangling from our hair. My youthful days. Nick actually put this photo on his computer desk. TSK, the siblings have such a good relationship. What do you want from me? Just say it. Seeing that I remained silent for a long time, Nick urged, I'm perfectly fine. That was just a feint, nothing much. Just wanted to ask if your phone is broken. Why haven't you accepted my WeChat request? The other person raised their eyes and gazed at me calmly without saying a word. I started feeling uneasy under his stare. After a while, he tugged at his tie. I'll go take a shower first. That was way too abrupt of a topic change. How did we even get to talking about bathing? Soon, the sound of trickling water came from the bathroom. Bored, I began looking around his room. Suddenly, my gaze was drawn to a row of neatly arranged gift boxes in the display cabinet. These little gift boxes somewhat resemble the one Nick gave me for my last birthday, the one that contained a golden 4-leaf clover necklace. Could these all be gifts, all golden necklaces? No way. Who is this for? Just from my initial glance, there must be at least 100 boxes in this cabinet, all quite exquisitely packaged. Seriously, I can't understand Nick anymore. Could he be a player? That shouldn't be the case. Tara even suspected he might be gay. Weird. Before long, Nick emerged from the bathroom. He was wearing only a bathrobe, its belt loosely tied around his waist. His forehead was dripping with water. Water droplets from his hair trailed down his cheeks and dripped onto his chest. I couldn't help but swallow hard. Broad shoulders, a tapered waist, and well-defined abdominal muscles. Every inch of him radiated an intense masculine aura. Last time in the guest room, I vaguely guessed he had a good figure, but I never expected it to be this good. My nose started itching. Just as I was about to wipe it, I suddenly saw Nick looking at me with a strange expression. What's wrong? He curled his lips and inexplicably smiled. Then he pulled out 2 tissues and handed them over. I took them in utter confusion. Only when a drop of red liquid flowed from my nostril and landed on my wrist did I understand. That's when I realized what had happened. Holy crap, this is beyond embarrassing. I quickly ran into the bathroom and stuffed tissues up my nostrils. Looking at myself in the mirror, I'm so annoyed I want to punch the wall. Emma, could this be any more embarrassing? Why did it have to be in front of Nick? I'm so done with this. After washing my face, I thought maybe I should just pack up and go home. I really don't feel like seeing anyone today. Just as I made up my mind, there came a knock at the door. Ready? Yes, Nick. The voice carried a hint of delight. Woo-woo, he must be dying of laughter. I opened the door, expressionless. I'm going back. Though I said it, my body remained motionless. Nick didn't step aside either. Their gazes collided. His eyes burned intensely, those narrow orbs sparkling like embers, his tone deliberately casual. What exactly do you want from me? Nothing at all. I feigned composure. He leaned in closer. The distance between them narrowed. His 188 centimeters height wasn't for nothing. A large shadow instantly loomed over her. Are you sure? Confirmed. My voice sounded a bit distant. What shower gel is he using? It smells quite nice. Did you tell him? Nick kept firing questions one after another. I played dumb. What? About the divorce? To avoid repeating past mistakes, I decided to lie first. I told them. Nick paused, his eyes growing more serious. What did he say? I hesitated, my tone restrained. Rory has already apologized to me and said he won't do it again. The other person let out a cold laugh. You're not actually taking this seriously, are you? After 3 seconds of silence, I looked at him and nodded with certainty. I believe he wouldn't lie to me. Nick's gaze grew heavy, his brow darkening noticeably. Shirley, are you really that naive? He's my husband. I believe he wouldn't lie to me. He remained silent for a long moment. Just when I thought he was about to get angry again, a handsome face suddenly leaned in, almost touching my lips. Breath mingled between them. I could even see his raven feather eyelashes trembling. What about the matter from last time? What happened? What do you think? I knew exactly what he was asking. Gazing at this handsome face so close to mine, with his high nose and broad forehead, and eyes like a sea of stars. His facial features were as sharply defined and handsome as if carved by a sculptor. I couldn't help but feel my thoughts wandering. Do you mind? Actually, we could hide it from your husband. He said it before I could. I thought he was starting to get it, so I gazed at him with tender eyes, hesitating to speak. Oh my God, that crisp, refreshing scent on him was utterly intoxicating. It's like an aphrodisiac, irresistibly addictive. And these pectorals, these abs. Each one strikes a chord in my heart. I even caught a glimpse of his grandfather's lover. Then, I unconsciously licked my lips. Want to kiss me? A sultry, intoxicating voice rippled near my ear. Like a grenade dropped into still waters, my consciousness was utterly shattered. Leaving me to nod blankly along with his words, Nick hooked his finger under my chin, his soft lips brushing lightly against my cheek. His voice sounded dreamlike, almost unreal. Divorce him, and then I'll be yours. It will always be Shirley S. alone. Okay. I stumbled out of the room in a daze. The whole way, I was in a fog, my steps unsteady. What's wrong with you? Tara looked at me with great curiosity. Seeing me in this state, I looked at her without saying a word. So, what did you just say to Nick? What did you say? Seems like nothing much was said. I shook my head. Weren't you going to add him on WeChat? Did you get it? Oh right, I forgot to add you on WeChat. Didn't get added? Tara asked curiously. I nodded slowly. What did he say to you then? I looked at her. Recalling Nick's words from earlier, he told me to get a divorce. A divorce, and then what? Then he said, he's mine. Cough cough cough. Tara started coughing violently, as if choking badly. Wait, Nick means, you'd divorce Rory and then he'd be with you. Is that what this means? I tried hard to recall every detail of what had just happened in the room, combining their previous conversation. She nodded hesitantly, not entirely certain. That should be the meaning. Tara looked excited. Holy shit, I knew Nick had someone in his heart. Turns out it was really you. Oh my God, I never imagined he was so deep. He even managed to deceive me. I thought it was strange last time when you threw up in his car, and he stayed so calm. Anyone else would have ditched the whole car. No wonder. I stared at her blankly. Nick likes me. This is truly a bit unbelievable. After all, we've barely spoken for nearly 12 years. If he liked me, why did he reject me when I confessed to him before? Did you two just kiss? I shook my head. Not today. Tara suddenly covered her mouth. So when was there ever? Last time. When I stayed overnight at your place. Damn, why didn't you tell me? I'm still reeling myself. At least my marriage certificate with Rory is still valid. It's not like I can go around announcing I kissed someone else. Well done, Comrade Shirley. You're my grandparents' savior. Now they won't have to worry about their grandson's sexual orientation anymore. Tara happily patted my shoulder, then continued enthusiastically. So when are you planning to sleep with him? Who? Duh. Obviously Nick. Had she still not gotten it? My brother wants me to get a divorce. After gathering his thoughts, he finally looked at me. You mean to say Nick being with you is conditional on you first asking Rory for a divorce? Pretty much. How can that be? Before I could say anything, Tara flat out rejected it. She argued logically. Is being with Nick now the same as being with him after divorcing Rory? Shouldn't the green hat someone put on you be returned in kind? Shirley. You mustn't compromise. Make sure to sleep with Nick first before bringing up divorce with Rory. Understand? This is about our dignity as women, absolutely non-negotiable. I thought my worldview was already skewed enough. Never expected Tara to outdo even the master. Is she actually supporting her brother being the other man? Nick quickly approved my WeChat request. I used to eagerly look forward to adding him on WeChat so I could flirt with him every day, now that we're connected. I don't have the courage anymore. Instead, it's Nick who occasionally sends me messages, asking how things are going with Rory. At first, I kept beating around the bush. Later, he sensed something and stopped asking, posting AB selfies instead, all kinds of AB selfies. Sometimes he'd stand in the bathroom with a towel around his waist, water dripping down his Adonis belt. Other times he'd be at the gym in grey sweatpants, the thin fabric leaving little to the imagination. Every single one of them makes your blood boil and your mouth go dry. This is simply turning the world upside down. Just who is teasing whom here? After seeing too many abs photos, I've successfully developed internal heat. Most importantly, I started dreaming, the kind with colors, every time, without fail. The male lead was Nick. I'm going crazy. Rory has been acting a bit unusual these days. He's been leaving work on time every day, no longer as elusive as before. That day after his shower, he actively came over to kiss me, clearly signaling his desire. It gave me quite a fright. I quickly made an excuse, saying I had my period. He looked displeased. I've been keeping an empty bed for 4 or 5 months already. On a whim of his, am I supposed to kneel down in gratitude for his royal favor and obediently wait for his attention? Dream on. Could it be that just as I was planning to divorce him, he suddenly decided to turn over a new leaf? I quickly opened that social media account and found that the other party hadn't updated for nearly a week. What's going on? Had a fight? Please don't. Even if Rory didn't have a physical relationship with her, I don't want to take this man back anymore. After hesitating for 2 days, I finally decided to send the other party a private message. Hey, why haven't you been updating about your daily life with your boyfriend lately? That evening, the person replied to me, who are you? I'm just a fan who follows you. I think your daily moments with your boyfriend are so loving and sweet. That's why I couldn't help but ask. Soon, the other party replied again. Thanks sis, I've had some issues with my boyfriend these past few days. That's why I stopped updating for a while. So you really did have a fight? No wonder. You're not breaking up, are you? That just won't do, sis. From the diary entries you've posted, I can tell your boyfriend truly loves you. What I want to say is, the path to finding true love will inevitably be strewn with thorns and hardships, but I believe love faces all challenges, and ultimately, love conquers all. Remember what you once said, in love, the one who isn't loved is the real outsider. Promise me you won't give up, okay? Poured them a bowl of watered-down motivational soup. I don't know if it's useful. Sigh. Just to keep my husband's love affair from being hindered, I'm really worried sick. A few days later, a new message appeared in my private inbox. Sis, thank you for your support the other day. My boyfriend and I made up. We've decided to spend a wonderful 3-day, 2-night getaway at Chiffing Mountain this weekend, and then, I'll completely give myself to him. After reading it twice, I understood the underlying meaning in their words. Who would have thought diluted chicken soup could be so effective? They're going to Chiffing Mountain, so, can I catch Rory red-handed? At this point, I have no choice but to prepare for my divorce from Rory. Although we did sign a prenuptial agreement, if it really comes to divorce, we'll just follow the procedures. But if I could obtain concrete evidence of his infidelity, it would certainly be more advantageous for me in terms of public opinion. Friday morning, as he went downstairs, Rory seemed to be in high spirits. I noticed he was wearing a new shirt and had switched to a wristwatch he didn't usually wear. His hair was styled with gel. He looked radiant and full of energy. Morning, wifey. Rory walked over and gave me a perfunctory kiss on the forehead. I took a sip of milk, smiling faintly. You're in such a good mood today. Probably because it's the weekend. Oh right, honey. I'm going on a business trip today and won't be back until Sunday. I looked at him with a faint, ambiguous smile. Coming back on Sunday, so that's 3 days and 2 nights. Don't miss me too much. He was genuinely in a good mood, even speaking with a teasing tone. At this moment, the elegant, handsome, and refined man before me appeared utterly detestable in my eyes. I felt somewhat sorrowful, to think I had wasted 3 years on such a person, not long ago. I was wholeheartedly determined to have a child with him. Sometimes, I really don't understand why women are so persistent about getting married. Men are also prone to cheating. My father was like that. Rory, that's right. Perhaps it's true what they say online, men only behave when they're 6 feet under. Rory, after he left, I rented a car from a nearby rental agency and drove to the company's entrance. I waited until noon before finally seeing our family's G-Class drive out from the company parking lot. At the intersection, a girl in a dress with a sweet smile hopped onto the car. Chiffing Mountain was quite far. It actually took me nearly 3 hours to get there. This was a comprehensive resort. Business seems to be booming. The parking lot is nearly full. I put on my mask and went to the front desk to book a room, only to be told they were fully booked, according to news reports. There's supposed to be a meteor shower tonight in this nearby area. Hordes of astronomy enthusiasts have swarmed in, resulting in all the resort rooms being fully booked. This news caught me completely off guard. Don't tell me I came all this way for nothing. Back in the parking lot, I quickly spotted Rory's car. They must have booked a room in advance. I can't believe myself. Could it be that we have to turn back? No, since we're already here, I need to figure something out. I don't know how long I've been sitting in the car. As night fell, I turned on my phone and habitually opened that social media platform. Seeing the copy that was just updated half an hour ago, the most romantic thing I can think of is watching a meteor shower with the one I love most. The accompanying image is a freshly taken landscape photo. Clearly, it was taken somewhere nearby. I felt pumped with adrenaline and quickly found an uncle working in the parking lot. Asking if he could tell where this place was, the uncle zoomed in on the picture and studied it for a few seconds before pointing confidently at the mountain across the way. I decided to set off. To get Rory's solid evidence of cheating, I was really going all out. Luckily, I wasn't wearing high heels when I left home today, but since I hadn't climbed a mountain in ages, I was already panting after just 2 li of the hike. The key was that it was getting darker, and I had to use my phone for light. The mountain path was narrow, with thorny bushes crowding both sides. A pitch-black bird suddenly darted out from the woods, nearly scaring the life out of me. I quickly ran a few steps, then suddenly slipped underfoot. Before I could react, the world spun violently above me. The next moment, my entire body was falling backward, until a heavy, dull thud resonated through my body. I realized I must have fallen, not sure where exactly I landed. I lay on the ground for a full 5 minutes before attempting to sit up. Fortunately, there was a thick layer of dead leaves beneath me. I'm pretty sure my head is fine, but my ankle seems to be sprained. It hurts like hell with even the slightest movement. Damn, could my luck really be this bad? I tried again to see if I could stand up. It hurt so much I grimaced. Tears welled up in my eyes. There was no way. I have no choice but to call for backup. Wait, where's my phone? I've been feeling around for ages and still can't find it. I could almost cry from frustration. Could my luck get any worse? Just as I was plunged into utter despair, a glimmer of light flickered in the distance. Thank heavens, I finally found it. I inched my way toward it. Nick sent it. A seductive and alluring photo of abs. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. At this moment, I couldn't care less and immediately video called the other person. The call was answered almost instantly. Nick. I sniffled. He seemed to have just taken a shower, with droplets still glistening on his forehead. Seeing the pitch-black space around me, Nick paused slightly, his tone turning serious. Where are you? I thought for a moment and said in a muffled voice, Phoenix Perch Mountain. What happened? I think I sprained my ankle. The reply came quickly. Wait there, I'm coming right over. More than 2 hours later, I finally saw him arrive. He found me leaning alone against a pine tree. Nick frowned deeply, his eyes filled with questions. Did you come alone? Of course I wouldn't tell him I was here to catch a cheating partner. Everyone says there's going to be a meteor shower tonight. Nick looked at me as if I were an idiot. With a final sigh, he walked up to me and half knelt down, speaking in an unusually gentle tone. Come up. I never expected Nick would actually offer to carry me on his back. Feeling uneasy, I declined. Actually, I can walk by myself, you just need to support me by the side. Nick glanced at his watch. It's already past 10 o'clock. Are you sure you want to keep delaying? The two stood in stalemate for a while. Get on my back? It's not like I haven't carried you before. Did he carry me on his back? How come I don't remember? Seeing my clueless expression, Nick looked somewhat displeased. You didn't forget everything from the past, did you? I instinctively retorted. How could I forget? I remember every single time you rejected me. Nick suddenly fell silent, just staring at me quietly. The atmosphere turned deathly still. I must be missing a screw in my head. Why did I have to say something that made everyone uncomfortable? They drove nearly 3 hours just to come rescue me. Shirley, do you even know how to hold a conversation? I regret it. A sudden remark left me utterly stunned. It was as if I'd been struck by a paralysis point. I stood motionless, staring at the speaker. Nick sat down beside me leaning against the pine tree, his voice hoarse and low. If I told you that was the most regrettable decision I've ever made in my life, would you forgive me? It's not that serious. I feel a bit embarrassed. There's no law saying you have to accept someone's confession. Of course you have the right to reject me, what's there to forgive? But I regret it. For the past 10 years, I've regretted it every single day. I look at Nick, he looks back at me. His face shows both pain and deep remorse, and now his voice is heavy and broken. Everything showed he wasn't lying. But why did you start dating Elena right after rejecting me? I voiced the question that had haunted me for years. Nick looked momentarily bewildered. The expression gradually shifted from remorse and frustration to confusion and astonishment. Elena, who is she? Wasn't she your first love? I've never had a first love. If I ever did, it could only be you. Once again, no. Nick, you're being a bit pretentious now. It was you who personally rejected me, yet now you claim I was your first love. But she told me herself that you two were dating. Nick's expression gradually darkened as he calmly asked me, is this Elena from your class? I nodded. He took out his phone and made a call. 2 seconds later, help me look up a girl named Elena from class 2215, at Street, Lan High School. I want her phone number within 15 minutes. Fine then, truly a domineering CEO. Less than 15 minutes had passed when Uncle Chen's call came through. After hanging up, Nick dialed another number. The call was answered promptly. Hello, Elena, who is this? I'm Nick from class 2208, at Street, Lan High School. Nick, may I ask if it was you who told Shirley 10 years ago that we were dating? There was a moment of silence on the phone. I was just joking with her. What? This statement completely shocked me, instantly breaking my defenses. How is that possible? During that time after school, you were clearly walking with Nick every day, and didn't you even bring him lunch at noon? The other person probably didn't expect me to be present at the scene. The atmosphere fell into silence once more. Nick said coldly, I'd like you to explain, when did you ever bring me a lunchbox, and when did we ever walk together every day? Is it wrong for me to deliberately walk beside him, or to strike up a conversation with him when I saw you? The lunchbox was meant for him, but can't I eat it myself instead? Who told you to be so gullible, believing everything I say? Serves you right. I was dumbfounded, completely dumbfounded. If 1 minute ago I still doubted whether the person on the phone wasn't Elena, then at this moment, that thought has completely vanished. She's still as domineering, unreasonable, and arrogant as ever. Back in middle school, she and her clique of girlfriends subjected me to 3 whole years of bullying with their cold stares and mockery. After hanging up the phone, both Nick and I fell into silence. After a long while, I rejected you back then because you were still underage, and I was worried it might affect your studies. I originally planned to wait until you graduated from high school to talk about it. Then why didn't you explain it to me later? Nick's voice was full of desolation. Did you ever talk to me again after that? Indeed, after my confession was rejected and I found out he was dating the girl who bullied me, I never spoke to Nick again. In high school, he actually approached me several times, but I always walked away with an icy expression. Back then, I was just being way too pretentious. Even later when I was studying in the U.S., upon hearing that Nick was coming to see Tara, I always made excuses to avoid him and never actually met face to face. Who would have thought that such a reason would cause us to miss each other for so many years? The two sat quietly together for a while longer. The night grew darker and darker. Let's go, I'll carry you down the mountain. This time, I didn't refuse. Actually, the feeling of being carried on a guy's back, how should I put it, was pretty awesome. Plus Nick is tall with broad shoulders, giving people an overwhelming sense of security. By the way, you mentioned carrying me before, when was that? He sighed softly. You were in 5th grade, during the spring outing, 5th grade spring outing. I think I remember now. That time, Tara and I went on a school spring outing. During the trip, Tara spotted mushrooms on a nearby mountain and got so excited that she insisted on dragging me along to hunt for them. In the end, the two of us got separated from the group. That led everyone to search for us. That spring outing was attended by both 5th and 6th graders together. Nick was there too. In the end, it was he who found us first. It seems I've also sprained my ankle, making walking difficult. Tara suggested, how about letting my brother carry you on his back? Then it was only natural that I ended up lying on Nick's back. He actually remembered something from so long ago. What a memory. The two returned to the resort. Where's your car? I asked Nick, at the foot of the mountain. Why? Traffic jam. Oh, tonight's situation is actually quite understandable. Then how did you get up the mountain? As soon as the words left my mouth, I realized I'd asked a pointless question. Of course he walked, how else? Fly. No wonder I thought he looked odd just now, sweating so profusely. Fine then. Poor Nick. That must have been exhausting. Another question occurred to me. How do we get down the mountain now? Nick paused to think. How's your foot? If it's serious, I can have Uncle Chen arrange a helicopter. Truth be told, my foot hadn't hurt that much for a while now. For now, apart from some slight redness and swelling, there's nothing particularly unusual. I quickly rejected his suggestion. No need to go through all that trouble. It doesn't hurt anymore. Maybe we should just find a room to get through tonight first. But then I remembered something. But it seems they don't have any rooms available. After further confirming that my foot wasn't seriously injured, Nick finally said, hold on a second. I need to make a call. 5 minutes later, the front desk informed us that there was still one suite available. Damn, which organization pulled this off? They must have some serious connections. It wasn't until I got the room key and entered the elevator that I belatedly realized. So tonight, I'll be sharing a room with Nick. After showering, I stepped out of the bathroom and saw Nick holding a pillow, sitting on the couch. Noticing I was only wearing a bathrobe, his gaze shifted awkwardly away. I'll sleep on the couch tonight. You take the bed. That just won't do. Looking at the visibly flustered Nick, I suddenly felt mischievous. TSK, you keep sending me abs pics every day. I thought you were quite the player. Turns out when he's just wearing a bathrobe, he doesn't even dare to look. I walked up to him and rubbed my nose. Nick, big bro, you seem a bit sweaty. Maybe you should go take a shower. Nick flushed crimson. I was completely charmed by him. Haha. Someone who's been extremely particular about cleanliness since childhood could never tolerate others saying such things. Nick promptly got up to take a shower. I spent a full half-hour washing up in the bathroom before finally emerging wrapped in a bathrobe, looking at the freshly bathed Nick. I had already made up my mind. Nick, could you help me blow-dry my hair? Naturally, he wouldn't refuse, quickly fetching the hairdryer. I lay quietly on the pillow, waiting for him to finish drying my hair. After a short while, the roaring sound of the hairdryer stopped. Shirley, Nick called my name. I didn't move. Then he called me again. I still didn't move. After hesitating for a moment, he turned me over and tucked the blanket around me. But he didn't leave. Fingers gently brushed against my cheek. Moments later, warm breath drew near. A tentative kiss grazed the corner of my lips. My eyes flew open. She hooked her arms around his neck and pressed her lips to his. Nick widened his eyes. I chuckled, and kept kissing him. Soon, he began responding to me. We kissed passionately. Nick was wearing a bathrobe at this moment, which was very easy to remove. I effortlessly touched his pectorals, abs, and Adonis belt. Just as I was tremblingly about to put my lips to it, I heard Nick let out a muffled groan from his throat. No, he was panting heavily, his eyes filled with suppressed pain. Why not? I protested. Shirley, just divorce him right now. Okay, divorce, always divorce. Will this ever end? Why do you want a divorce? He cupped the back of my head, kissing my hair near my ear deeply, his voice trembling. Be good. Divorce him, and we'll be together forever, every single day. Just the two of us. Okay, damn, I really don't understand why he's being so stubborn. Rory never got divorced. Yet he's still lovey-dovey with his girlfriend. I rolled over. Tonight, you'll submit whether you want to or not. No. Hearing Nick's near-silent murmur, I straddled him and teased in a playful tone. If you want me to divorce Rory quickly, you'll have to let me inspect the goods first. What if you're no good? Then all my efforts would be wasted. If only I knew these words would leave me unable to get out of bed the next day. I'd rather die than say them. Indeed. No man can stand being told he's not good enough. The world spun around me. In the next instant, our positions were abruptly reversed. Nick was clearly furious, gritting teeth and glaring at me. Shirley, you said it yourself. I got what I wanted and tore off Nick's bathrobe. At first I was smug, with both hands and mouth kept endlessly busy. Gradually, I couldn't keep up anymore. Slow down, not there, I'm so tired. Let's rest for a bit. Woo-woo, no more, help. I won't dare do it again. Brother, you should still sleep on the sofa. I feel like a doll, being handled this way by Nick one moment and that way the next. Also, Tara, didn't you say he's the most germophobic? What's this? Even my toes are being gnawed on. I'm itching to death. After returning from Chiffing Mountain, Rory was clearly head over heels in love. Why do I say that? Because he's been staying out all night even more frequently. Sometimes I wouldn't see him for an entire week. Honey, I'm meeting with Shengda tonight to discuss a partnership. It might run late, so don't wait up for me. On the phone, Rory was asking for time off again. Truthfully, he didn't need to make this call at all. I haven't waited for him in a long time. What's more, I haven't been home myself for 3 days. Alright? Just remember not to drink too much. Got it. Love you, honey. I love you too. Like hell you do. Hanging up the phone, Tara clicked her tongue disapprovingly. So what's your plan then? Just keep dragging this out with him. I curled my lips. Rory's girlfriend isn't even worried, so why should I be? She went through so much trouble to get with Rory. There's no way she'd settle for being a secret mistress. Don't worry, I'm quite at ease. It's just that my brother has been asking about you these past few days. Could you send him a message back? The moment Nick was mentioned, I instantly fell silent. Tara looked at me and sighed. Forget it. You should be able to handle your own affairs. I haven't told him you're here yet. Are you going out? I saw her getting ready to change clothes. Yeah, that younger brother from the restaurant the other day invited me to a comic convention. Younger brother from the restaurant, I thought back. He looks so small. You're seeing it wrong, it's huge, Tara said proudly. Miss Lin had only been out for 5 minutes when the doorbell rang again. I had to come down from the second floor to open the door for her. What? Did you forget your phone again? The voice abruptly stopped. I stared in astonishment at the person standing at the door, even forgetting to close my mouth. The two of them locked eyes for a moment. Are you avoiding me? Nick's voice was light and airy. I felt momentarily flustered, forcing out an awkward smile. How could that be? He looked at me, his gaze gentle. Can I come in? Of course, as I stepped inside. Racking my brains for an excuse for not replying to his WeChat messages these past few days, Nick suddenly embraced me gently. I'm sorry. His move completely caught me off guard. What do you mean? If you don't want a divorce for now, I won't push you anymore. Just don't avoid me anymore, okay? Nick's voice sounded pleading, with a hint of grievance. I froze for a moment. Strange how he suddenly changed his mind. Why? He held me tightly, not responding for a long time. After what felt like ages, he finally spoke weakly. I can't bear you ignoring me and being cold to me again. The past 10 years were like a damp, gloomy nightmare. I barely managed to wake up from that dream and never want to fall back into it. Those words made my heart ache. She immediately returned his embrace. I'll divorce Rory. It shouldn't be much longer now. Can you wait a little more? Nick suddenly released me, a glimmer of light flashing through his eyes. Really? He held me tightly in his arms once again. Alright, I believe you. A month later, my phone rang with a call from an unknown number. The person got straight to the point. Mrs. Ferdinand, hello. I'm Greg, assistant to the CEO of Ferdinand Corporation. Do you have time today? I'd like to have a chat with you. Is it finally happening? After hanging up the phone, I opened that social media account. This time, it was a pregnancy test report that had been updated, and a piece of copy. I went to confront his wife, and I'll face it together with my brother. So that's how it is. I looked at the pregnancy test report in my hand and thought for a moment. I left a message for her below. What a coincidence. I'm pregnant too. Fortunately, my brother doesn't have a wife. And he even said he'd face my husband with me. I arranged to meet directly at my home. Unlike the last time we met in the office, when I was silent and submissive, this time, she became extremely confident. Exuding an air of calm composure, after settling on the sofa, her opening statement was straightforward. Mrs. Ferdinand, I'm pregnant with Rory's child. Here's the prenatal report, please take a look. I picked up the report and read it word for word, looking up. I asked her, what do you want? Seeing how calm I was, she seemed taken aback, staring at me with burning eyes. I don't want my child to be born out of wedlock. As far as I know, Rory hasn't touched you for nearly half a year. Do you really think this marriage is worth continuing? Indeed not. Haven't I been waiting for you to come knocking every single day? But there's one question I'm quite curious about. Was it you who told him not to touch me? Rory is being way too obedient. The other person flashed a smug yet subtle smile. Mrs. Ferdinand, men can be very obedient at times, extremely obedient. As long as you take good care of them, they'll do whatever you say and let you have your way. Too bad women like you will never understand. I vaguely sensed she was mocking me. What did she mean by women like me? Phut, Nick has no idea how much I'm worth. In bed, he's practically become my worshipper. Plus, he lasts longer than Rory and his service skills are 100 times better than Rory's. Only she would treat that kind of man like a treasure. Whatever, can't be bothered to talk to her. There was movement in the living room, then a lavishly dressed, bejeweled socialite walked in through the door. She's my wonderful mother-in-law, Rory's biological mother. Shirley, why did you call me over in such a hurry? Is something wrong? I stood up and introduced her. Mom, this is Greg, Rory's assistant. Her pregnancy test report is on the coffee table. You're about to have a grandchild, though of course, it might be a granddaughter. With those words, the two stared at each other in silence. An hour later, Rory returned. I quickly packed a few things. My mother-in-law was still earnestly trying to persuade me. Shirley, what are you doing? There must be some misunderstanding here. Just let Rory explain and it'll be fine. Hearing this, I looked at Rory, a cold laugh. No need for explanations. Just say it. He looked at the report on the coffee table. What more was there to misunderstand? His gaze swept toward me, a flicker of guilt crossing his expression as he spoke slowly. I'm sorry, honey, I didn't mean to. Is the child in her belly yours? Rory remained silent, clearly admitting by default. Either divorce or get an abortion. Choose one. As soon as these words were spoken, Rory hadn't said anything yet, but my mother-in-law already looked nervous. Shirley, this. After all, it's a little life, actually. You could, I knew it. Rory is almost 30. His mother couldn't bear to let go of this grandchild that was within reach. Besides, the Humbert family isn't short on money. They could afford to raise any number of illegitimate children. I sighed. Mom, I was just speaking out of anger earlier. Whether I keep it or not, there's no future between me and Rory anymore. As for the projects between our two companies, we'll continue cooperating as usual. It won't be affected. Her mother stared at me in shock, unable to believe I could be so accommodating. Rory also gaped at me in astonishment, unable to comprehend why I would react this way. After all, he had not only cheated but also gotten his mistress pregnant. By all accounts, these devastating blows should have left me reeling. Let's get the divorce done as soon as possible. We'll go get the certificate tomorrow. I'll go back to my mom's place first. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow morning. With that, she ignored everyone's reactions, turned around, and left. She returned to her own home. My mom was reviewing the quarterly reports and barely looked up when she saw me, immediately burying her head back in the documents. You came back alone again, Rory. I divorced him. My mom turned a page before it registered. What did you just say? I sat down and repeated, Rory had an affair, and the girl is already pregnant. So I filed for divorce. She stood frozen for a long moment before finally processing my words, with a heavy gaze and a serious tone. Are all these things true, Mom? Of course they're true. I'll go through the divorce procedures with him tomorrow. As for the company matters, handle them as you see fit. Try to make the separation as clean as possible, and don't get too entangled with them. Of course, the ongoing projects we've already partnered on should be excluded. My mother set down the report and pondered for a moment. Did you agree so easily? Of course I agreed, because I'm pregnant too. What did you say? I'm pregnant, and the baby isn't Rory's. My mother stood there dumbstruck. But the Humberts don't know I'm pregnant. Don't let it slip. Anyway, I'm divorcing Rory tomorrow, and after that we'll go our separate ways. The barrage of news finally became too much for my mother to handle. Clutching her temples, she hastily called for a timeout. Let me catch my breath first. Shirley, do you realize what you just said? Seeing this, I had no choice but to produce the video from 2 months ago showing Rory passionately kissing his mistress. Rory's affair, I discovered it long ago. I just never told you. The baby in my belly is Nick's. You can think of it as me getting back at Rory, or you can see it as me and Nick rekindling our old flame. After all, I had a crush on him when I was little. My mom was completely stunned. Her mouth opened and closed and opened. You're saying the baby in your belly is Nick's? Exactly. Then why don't you divorce Rory first before being together? I got carried away and lost control. My mom. Early the next morning, Civil Affairs Bureau. Rory let out a sigh, his gaze resting on my face with an inscrutable complexity. Honey, I don't want a divorce. Please believe me, it was just a momentary impulse with her. I interrupted him impatiently. Rory, we discussed plans for pregnancy last year, didn't we? Have you ever counted how long it's been since you last touched me? 6 months. A couple not sharing a bed for 6 months, isn't that just counting down to divorce? This young lady is fair-skinned and beautiful, with money and time to spare. What makes you think I should waste any more of it on you? Just because our marriage was arranged between 2 families, You think I should consider the bigger picture and forgive you this time? Is that it? If I forgive you this once, next time, and the time after that, and the time after that, you'll just come back with the same routine asking for my forgiveness until I get used to your mistress, because your friends, classmates, even your father, most men have gone through this. Sorry, I'm not that kind of woman. And neither is my mother. You might not realize it yet, but I hold grudges for a long time, so we're not right for each other. Let's get divorced sooner rather than later. Rory stood motionless. In the end, he said nothing more and followed me into the Civil Affairs Bureau. The day after Rory and I divorced, early in the morning, I had just come downstairs when I spotted an unexpected guest in the living room. My mother was sitting on the sofa, arms crossed, with a stern expression. You could say her mother-in-law aura was in full swing. Nick stood opposite her. The usually arrogant and aloof CEO now looked utterly docile. I quickly ran over. Mom, what are you doing so early in the morning? Seeing me, Mother's expression didn't soften much. Speak up. What do you two plan to do about this? Nick said with unwavering certainty, speaking slowly. Auntie, I'm going to marry Shirley. My mother furrowed her brows. Marry? Do your parents agree? Do your grandparents know about this? Our Shirley's situation is clear. She just got divorced. It's impossible for her to marry you right away. What would people think if they found out? If we postpone the wedding, what about the baby? Won't people laugh their heads off when she's visibly pregnant? You're already in your 20s, how can you be so? Nick was momentarily lost in thought. Child, my mother's face grew even darker. You can't possibly still not know. If my mother found out that Nick was someone I went through all sorts of schemes to get with, she'd probably die of anger. You're pregnant. Nick turned his head and stared at me blankly. I stammered, no, it's none of your business. It really wasn't his fault. That night, I was the one who went crazy seducing him, forcing him, and even forbade him from using protection. My mother's furious voice came through. What do you mean, Shirley? The child isn't his. Unbelievable. I braced myself and explained. Mom, the child is Nick's, but it's not his fault. That night I was the one who seduced him. Please don't say anything more. Are you really pregnant? Nick confirmed with me again. I could only acquiesce in silence, without the slightest hesitation. He turned his head and calmly said to my mother, Auntie, I assure you, my marriage is entirely my own decision. Regardless of whether my family agrees or not, I will definitely marry Shirley. As for the specific wedding date, both families can discuss it together. Of course, personally, I hope the sooner the better. If you think getting married at this stage is too hasty, I have another suggestion, that Shirley and I get our marriage certificate first. After this speech, it actually left my mother speechless, unable to say a word for quite some time. Upon learning that I was pregnant, Nicholas's family was equally thrown into chaos. Nick took all the blame upon himself, even claiming he had gotten drunk and forced me by accident. This infuriated his father so much that he nearly resorted to physical violence. I panicked instantly and rushed forward to stop him. Mr. Nicholas, it's actually not Nick's fault at all. It's all because of me, Mrs. Nicholas grabbed my arm indignantly and said, Shirley, stop pleading for him. Showing mercy by not reporting him to the police after what he did is already kindness enough. Raising a son like this brings no honor to us as parents. Oh my, I feel Nick's lifelong reputation has been ruined by me. I regret it so much. I was determined to tell the truth to Uncle Lynn and Mrs. Nicholas, but Tara stopped me. Are you stupid? Nick only made up such an excuse to come clean with the elders so you could marry into our family with your head held high. Don't make things worse, but we can't let your brother take the blame for this, if he wants to marry a wife. What's wrong with bearing some blame? Don't interfere, he's happy to do it. Witnessing Nick, who had been held up as a model student and carried high expectations since childhood, get thoroughly scolded by his own parents today, I truly felt guilty and uneasy. After returning to the upstairs room, I took the initiative to pull them aside and apologize. I'm sorry. Nick looked puzzled. Why are you apologizing? For ruining your impeccable reputation in one fell swoop. He looked at me with exceptionally gentle eyes, then he leaned in, lightly brushing aside the hair by my cheek, his magnetic voice laced with temptation. So how do you plan to make it up to me? I blinked and whispered a single phrase into his ear. Nick listened with deep-set eyes, his Adam's apple bobbing. Are you sure? Confirmed. 100 times. 100 times. He kissed me on the lips. All right, a promise is a promise. The two of us cuddled for quite a while before our gaze fell upon the row of neatly arranged gift boxes in the cabinet. It was during my previous birthday, Nick who gave me a box containing a golden 4-leaf clover necklace. The last time I saw it, I began to wonder, what's inside these gift boxes? Following my gaze, he replied with a hint of mystery, "You can open it and take a look." I raised an eyebrow. Really? My interest was immediately piqued, opening the first one. Inside was a dazzling golden bracelet, very thick, the solid kind. Second, the golden serpent bone chain, it's also very heavy, must weigh quite a few grams. The third one, a gold star-studded bracelet. The fourth, the fifth, they're all actually gold jewelry. I counted, there are over 100 boxes here. Could they all possibly contain gold jewelry? How much would that cost? Meeting my stunned gaze. Do you like it? Duh, who doesn't like gold? Who did you buy it for, Smeg? Nick replied with unmistakable amusement in his voice. It was actually bought for me. When did you buy this? Over the years. I was deeply moved. Why didn't you give it to me? His voice carried a hint of resentment. Because you've been ignoring me all this time. Damn, could you be any more tight-lipped? What if I keep ignoring you forever? Then I'll keep buying them, until one day when I'm old and gone, I'll have Tara deliver all these things to you. Unbelievable. Now I finally understand why we've missed each other all these years, both too stubborn, both too tight-lipped. A month later, Rory and I got our divorce certificate. The next day, Nick dragged me to get our marriage license. Now, everything was finally out in the open. Both families began discussing wedding dates. Grandpa Nicholas and Grandma Nicholas wanted to hold the wedding before the pregnancy became too noticeable. My mother, however, had many concerns. After all, Rory and I had just divorced. And marrying again so soon might invite gossip from relatives and friends. But not long after, Rory announced his wedding date first. Rumor had it that the girl was using the pregnancy as leverage. As soon as the baby's gender was confirmed, she threatened Rory into marriage. Rory's parents couldn't bear to part with their already formed grandchild, so they agreed, when his side announced the wedding date. My mother probably also came to terms with it and agreed to let Nicholas's family move the wedding forward. After discussions, both families decided the wedding didn't need to be too large, just inviting some close relatives from both sides would suffice. The wedding is scheduled for the end of the month. Rory somehow got the news and gave me a call. "Shirley, I heard you're getting married. Is it true? What do you want?" He paused for a moment. "Actually, you don't have to marry some random guy just to spite me." I couldn't help but laugh. "Rory, how dare you? To say Nick is just some ordinary man sounds to me like calling Louis Koo mediocre looking. I know I've hurt you deeply, but Shirley, as your ex-husband, I still want to remind you not to make wrong decisions out of momentary anger. Get lost." I decisively hung up the phone. I saw Rory again in the second month of my marriage, when Nick accompanied me to the hospital for a prenatal checkup. Midway, his phone rang, and he stepped aside to the stairwell to take the call. It was at this moment that I encountered Rory. His wife's belly appeared about as large as mine. Come to think of it, the timing of her pregnancy was very close to mine. At first glance when she saw me, Rory still had a flicker of joy in her eyes. What are you doing here?" I didn't really feel like responding to him. It was actually his wife who was eyeing me with suspicion. A moment later, she exclaimed in surprise, "You're pregnant." Rory followed her voice, his attention shifting to my belly. His expression changed slightly. After a long moment of contemplation, he finally spoke coldly. "Are you pregnant?" How many months has it been?" I find myself rather amusing. "Does it have anything to do with you? Shirley, didn't you just get married last month? Don't tell me you're already 1 month pregnant." His wife walked over, her tone laced with a hint of disdain. "How could that be? Honey, her belly looks about the same size as mine." "Shut up." Rory didn't look too well. "Shirley, tell me honestly, how long have you been pregnant?" To his question, I had only 4 words. No comment. He instantly lost his composure. "You put such a huge green hat on my head, and you still won't let me know about it. Shirley, don't go too far. Some people might think she's still a pure and innocent girl. Who would have guessed she's so wild in private?" His wife's voice actually sounded somewhat gleeful. I truly couldn't understand her mentality. Back when her relationship was facing obstacles, I was the one who encouraged her, and when she came to provoke me after getting pregnant, I promptly stepped aside. Besides, a married woman, seducing an unmarried man, how is that any different from her, an unmarried woman, seducing a married man? Is there any difference on a moral level? Absolutely none. Why must women mock other women? I sighed and said to her sincerely, "You don't need to be so hostile towards me. Didn't I comfort you when you had that conflict with Rory?" The other person looked utterly confused and said inexplicably, "What are you talking about?" I took out my phone, opened her social media account, and showed it to her. "That's your account, isn't it?" She was completely stunned, looking at me as if I were a monster. Her voice faltered. How did you know? I shrugged my shoulders. Once I noticed you on Rory's phone, I felt you two were very close, so I started following you. This account called Shirley was me. I even comforted you back then with love faces all difficulties, and love conquers all difficulties, telling you not to give up. Later, you figured things out and decided to go with Rory to Chiffing Mountain for 3 days and 2 nights, saying you'd give yourself to him completely. Didn't you? The two across from me looked as if struck by lightning. They both stared at me with identical expressions of utter disbelief. I continued with a beaming smile. By the way, the scenery at Chiffing Mountain is truly lovely. You two even went to watch the meteor shower on the mountain opposite the resort. Didn't you? I was there that night too, but unfortunately I sprained my ankle later and missed the show. So, was that the night you gave yourself to him? Watching the meteor shower while doing it, that's quite romantic indeed. The woman across the table flushed crimson, then paled, then flushed again. It's really quite embarrassing. Rory also calmed down. You knew all along, didn't you? I nodded. Yeah, I thought you wanted to try an open marriage with me. You're getting a girlfriend, so of course I need to find a boyfriend too. That Chiffing Mountain is actually the sacred place where my boyfriend and I fell in love. Come to think of it. I did get pregnant around the same time as your wife. How wonderful, now we've both found our own happiness. Rory wore an expression like he'd just eaten shit. Cheating, it's all about the thrill, it's all about the excitement. Now, is that thrilling and exciting enough for you? I'll make sure every time you see your precious son, it feels like a fishbone stuck in your throat and needles pricking your back. I'll make sure he brands you with infamy, because while you were cheating, your wife was cuckolding you too. No wonder Tara and I have been friends for so many years. Actually, our personalities are quite similar, an eye for an eye. A few days later, my mother casually mentioned to me, who knows what's gotten into your ex-husband? I heard his wife was already over 5 months pregnant, yet he forced her to get an abortion. Their household has been in complete turmoil these past few days. I sneered. Was he trying to erase his own disgrace? Not to mention that woman wouldn't agree. Even Rory's parents would never let their son do such a thing. 4 months later, I gave birth to a daughter as delicate as carved jade. From birth, her net worth already surpassed her mother's. Her paternal grandparents gifted her property, while her maternal grandparents bestowed land holdings, and her grandmother transferred company shares. Her aunt also presented a grand villa. Her parents were the stingiest, they gave her nothing at all. Ever since I had my daughter, Tara automatically got promoted to Dehua status, holding her every day and never wanting to let go. The problem is there are too many people waiting to hold the little princess every day, so often she has to wait in line. Oh my god, she's so adorable, so much fun. Shirley, can you have another one please? I'm speechless with her. You love kids so much, why don't you have one yourself? No way, what if the baby turns out ugly? Then find a handsome guy to have one with. Still no, you should work harder and have 2 more. Don't you think our house is too big with so few children? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Never thought I'd be getting fertility pressure from my sister-in-law rather than my mother-in-law. Now she wants me to have 2 more kids. Does she think I'm a breeding so? The baby started yawning after just a short while in her arms. It's probably time to sleep. The maternity nurse is about to put her in the crib. Tara could only reluctantly let go. The two chatted on the sofa. As if remembering something amusing, Tara said with a laugh, "By the way, have you heard, Rory got divorced?" So soon? He hasn't been married for long. I casually asked. Why? Apparently after his wife gave birth, he never once went to see the baby. It made his parents suspect the child wasn't their son's, so they specifically went for a DNA test. The DNA test confirmed it's indeed his own grandson. But Rory just refuses to see his son and insists on getting a divorce. The whole social circle is buzzing about it. 2 marriages and 2 divorces within just a few years. His parents are practically dying from anger. Rory's stubborn personality, I saw this coming from miles away. That machismo of his can't tolerate even the slightest dent to his dignity. This was destined to become an insurmountable hurdle in his life. Who is to blame? Evening, Nick returned. As a new father, the first thing he did upon returning home was naturally to play with his precious daughter. After teasing our precious daughter, he started teasing me. Honey, got plans tonight? What? I played dumb 100 times. He reminded me. Dizzy, how could I have been so stupid back then? Agreed to play roleplay with him 100 times. He just got scolded. I'm the one who has to physically exert myself for real. Nick whispered ambiguously in my ear while nibbling on it. So, what are we playing tonight? Thinking about the back pain I just got from twisting it last night. Can I take a rain check? Not a chance, baby. But my waist hurts. Then I'll do the moving today. Whimper, help.